Another major barrier to communication is health issues. Not only does your loved one have dementia, but they're experiencing other health issues on top of this, or possible symptoms or side effects from the type of dementia that they have. One of the major ones is slowed speech. As human beings, it is so easy for us to be impatient. We're having a conversation and we just want that back and forth. And it's so easy to jump in and to finish somebody's thought or to finish somebody's sentence, their question, to just guess what they're thinking. Don't do this. You're taking away from your loved one. What you need to do is you need to sit back and be patient, and you need to wait. It may feel awkward at first, but you can wait up to 2 minutes for your loved one to respond. Just think, they are still working through and processing that last sentence or two that you shared with them. So after they process that, they then have to process their response before they share it. It just takes longer. So instead of taking away their independence and their opportunity to actually share what they're thinking and what they're actually feeling, sit back, relax, and give them an opportunity to respond. Soft speech can also happen. With different kinds of dementia, sometimes they no longer have the ability to talk loudly. That's okay. When you're going to have conversations, be in a quiet area. We already talked about environmental barriers. Make sure that none of those are happening. There's no radio on, there's no television on, the windows are shut. You want it to be quiet, and you want to be in close proximity so that they can still see your face, but so you're close enough to them so that you can hear if they are using soft speech. Encourage the use of a pocket talker. This is an amazing device. It can just be put in somebody's pocket, and there's a little microphone that's going to come around, and it's going to make their speech louder. This is extremely helpful and a great way to help increase the conversation that you have. Confusion. A lot of times it's just very difficult to follow along in a conversation. Maybe before, you and your spouse or you and your loved one were able to have these amazing, deep conversations. It's going to be different now. You're going to have to use shorter sentences, less words. You're going to have to give more time to respond, and you're going to have to understand that the first time you say something, they might not understand it. They might be confused because they might have the wrong meaning for a word. So just be prepared that it's going to take more time, and you may have to do some rephrasing. You may have to really cut down on your conversation time. By doing this, you're allowing your loved one to be more successful. Reactions to medications. Think about the side effects that you see of medications on television. It takes up half of the commercial. All of these are possible side effects that your loved one can have. So make sure if you are noticing things are different or they're out of the ordinary and your loved one is really having a hard time communicating with you, reach out to your doctor, reach out to your pharmacist, and do something called a med review. They will be happy to look at all of the medications that your loved one is taking, the dosage amount, the time of day. They'll take a look and they'll look at the possible side effects and see is there anything that they can change to maybe help alleviate some of these symptoms. Lastly, dementia and reality orientation. A lot of times they may say things that just don't make sense, that just don't fit into our reality. A lot of times when I would sit down and I would talk to my grandfather who had Alzheimer's, he loved my dogs. He absolutely adored my dogs, but he had moved along in his dementia, so he was back at a time where I actually had a different dog than I do now. So we'd be sitting and talking, and maybe one of the new dogs would even be in front of him, and he would say, "How is Sparky? That Sparky is so smart. What is he up to? What is he doing right now?" Sparky's not there, and that's okay. Because at that time, my grandfather was interested, he was happy, and he was engaged. So if I would have done reality orientation, which is simply bringing somebody back to our reality, the real reality, if I would have said, "Grandpa, that's not Sparky, that's Monty. Sparky died. Remember, he died about a year ago. Remember how sad we were? That was a really tough time." Why in the heck would you want to do that to your loved one? It's going to make them feel sad. It's going to make them feel embarrassed. They are going to experience that loss all over again. And then are they going to remember it in 5, 10, 15 minutes? Probably not. So instead, we use validation. We enter their world. And I simply said, "Sparky is doing great. Look at him. He's handsome. He's happy. He's rolling around on the floor. What is your favorite thing about Sparky?" It's okay to do that. You are meeting them where they are at. You're entering their reality, and you're making them feel good, and you're continuing that conversation. So I always encourage you to use validation instead of reality orientation.